Alright, let's start off with Superman's mustache. So, for people that didn't know, I didn't know, Jordan told me here that the guy that played Superman had to keep a mustache. He had to grow it out for his latest role in, what movie is it coming out?
I don't even know. I just know
No,
it's
alright.
another movie.
Some movie coming out. We'll have to look it up. But, so yeah, they CGI'd over his mustache. And from what it looked like, I believe it's near the end of the interview is what he was telling me. Like, right before he's about to say something, before it cuts off the screen. Just take a look at it if you have a bootleg version or when it comes out.
It should be on YouTube or something.
It should be on YouTube. Check it out. It's just, you can tell they CGI'd his mustache. So that's one thing. So now we're going on the facials, the face part. There's another thing we can focus on, and that's Batman.
That's
Who out there recognized a difference in Bruce Wayne's face? Because Jordan freaking figured it out right when he watching the bootleg version, not the original version. You want to explain this one?
just film cuts, and they had to reshoot some scenes. They had to ask Ben Affleck to come in and redo some scenes for him, and he probably gained weight over time, and that's why he looks completely different.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
His beard even looks fake in the reshoot version.
Yeah, he definitely has some different shit going on in different scenes. Like, it must be really hard to be an actor to even be physically the same weight or the same, facial hair or whatever through that amount of time because he had to take other shoots with a different director. But yeah, there was definitely something going on there with Bruce Wayne and Batman. Like, there's times where his face was thinner. There's times where he looked fatter, chubby.
I consider those nitpicks.
Well, this is the nitpick version of the video, so that's why we're mentioning this now.
Yeah. I mean, I understand they had to reshoot some shit.
Yeah, nothing against Ben Affleck. I thought, he still looked fine. But there's just something we can definitely talk about. All right. Let's see.
Start with story, please.
Story. Okay.
What in the story did not make sense to you?
Okay, so we have this great clash of the gods, Aquaman people, Green Lantern people, Flash people, or not even the Flash, sorry, humans. Everybody's working together, and gods. They're fighting off this villain that comes to Earth again in this movie. So, I don't understand why all of a sudden this box just came to life and this guy came out of this portal and he's, going for the box now. They didn't explain that. They were just like, oh, the box is reacting. So, for me, it would have made more sense to see some kind of portal and, some kind of side story or scene, whether it doesn't really show the face of Darkseid or the main guy, but there is some kind of conversation going on, it's time. It's timed. We waited 1,000 years. Maybe the spell on the box is weakened after 1,000 years, or it would have been some kind of oh, I'm sorry, Superman died. That's why they.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that.
Damn it.
There was a reason in my head, but I was like, what the fuck was it? They had a reason for it.
Because I was thinking about the box, and I'm like, oh yeah, but how did they figure out Superman was dead? Okay, so that's something we can add to that. How did they know Superman was dead? So if we had some kind of cutscene with the villain talking to the main villain, whether it's his dad, like we think in the animated series, I think Darkseid adopted this guy as his stepson, but I don't know. But if we had some kind of scene, that would have been a good storyline plot for the villains. But the Amazons, which was cool, they're just like, oh no, this rock is, or the box is reacting. And I'm just like, okay. So basically the director is telling us this is a good plot to bring all the superheroes together. Not for a story purpose.
Yeah.
So that's what I didn't like.
And
from the start.
It's hard to even see his. What?
That's Catwoman, just to let you guys know. No, I'm kidding.
I'll get down.
So, let's see.
And the villain. It's hard. I can't even say what his motive is. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why is he a bad guy? Why? They just like expect you to know this shit. I never even heard of Steppenwolf until I heard his movie.
Honestly, I forgot this guy's name. Like, I had to dig deep and look at the animated series again, or like in my old memory. I didn't even look it up yet, but like I know in my old memory there was some kind of character like that did Darkseid's bidding to get him ready to take over a planet. But for like if you didn't watch that show since like 1999, 2003, 2005, that's over 10 years ago.
Yeah, if you're new to superhero movies and you watch this, you'd be like, well, why is he doing all this? Like, for what reason? Just some guy with a giant axe that wants to hurt people and put these boxes together. It's like, you don't explain, like, there's nothing there with that.
Well, even better, like if we have fans here that are Batman fans, because there's a lot more DC Batman films than there is other films, right?
A lot more.
A lot more. I mean, we've had some Superman films before DC, and this was the first Wonder Woman. We don't have one. We have one horrible Green Lantern movie. Sorry, Ryan Reynolds. I love you, but that movie was. I'm not gonna even count that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So why are we picking a Superman villain? They set this up in Batman versus Superman, but like, why do we have to all of a sudden jump into to unify the Justice League? We have to kill Superman, which was a great idea you could have done a couple movies later, but you wanted to kill him right away, and you wanted to summon Superman's the main guy in all the Superman films. Like, this was the worst villain for him. So, like, if you don't know anything about Superman, and you're a fan of the other heroes or watch Marvel movies, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, here's some boxes. Like, okay, why are you the villain?
All I see is that he's a bad guy who wants to do bad things. I think that's mainly what they give you.
Right. Like, even when... I think the creators had a chance, though. Or, sorry, not creators, directors. They had a chance to fix that when Wonder Woman and Batman are walking together before they unify everybody.
Okay.
They didn't.
Are you going back to BVS when they're at the cemetery? That, or you mean in the new one?
The new one.
Okay.
I can't think that far back between Bruce Wayne and Wonder Woman talking. I remember they.
At the end of BVS, they were like at the cemetery, walking and talking together and shit.
I vaguely remember that. I remember them together at the funeral, but I don't. But when I saw them walking in this film.
Yeah.
Together before the unified Cyborg and Flash or whatever. They were talking about the members, but they didn't explain why a greater evil is coming. Like, Wonder Woman saw the flames from her sisters, the Amazons or whatever, and somehow Batman didn't know.
Yeah. Well, in BVS, he had like
a vision,
premonitions and shit like that.
Oh, that's
and the
that's
Flash
good.
like,
But in this film, he never mentions that vision.
Because they're trying to erase that shit.
So that doesn't help anybody that watched the last film. So if you guys try to watch Batman vs. Superman and then watch this film, you're only going to get maybe less than a quarter of the movie. Is that fair enough? Like, you're only going to really understand a quarter of it?
You'll get that Superman's dead, Batman exists, Wonder Woman exists.
And that Lex Luthor drew boxes.
Yeah.
He drew some equations that you think aliens made, like back in the day, like, you know, like in these movies, like Aliens, like where they see signs in the caves, or like the show The X-Files, like that's their only mention of Lex Luthor in this movie from the last movie. In fact, if you look up online, the director, I don't know if it was the first director or the second one, whatever, they just cut this guy from the film. I feel so bad for him. He probably had like maybe 20 minutes of airtime, or maybe less than that, but they just completely took him out.
Yeah.
So, All right, so that's on the story. Should we go further in the story, or do you think we covered it pretty good?
Nah, there's a lot of flaws.
All right.
A
So,
lot of fucking flaws.
you want to keep going? Why don't you start?
Let's see. Well, alright, we did the villain.
Right.
Let's go with, fuck. I'm like trying to remember the movie now.
Well, how about why did the frickin' devil things first? Why did they come first before the villain? Like they didn't really explain
The
that.
parademons?
Yeah. Why did they start showing up before the guy even showed up?
I think it's sort of like a planned attack already. Like, you know, you guys get it started, I'll be there soon.
But
type
okay,
thing.
so
I
this
don't
is
know.
this is where I'm getting at. So like once the villain shows up and they get the first box,
Yeah.
and then the second box, he doesn't command the devil guys to get the capture people, but the devil guys along with him are in a scene and they collect some of the smartest scientists in like Gotham and where's Superman? Superman's what is his town?
Metropolis.
Metropolis, Gotham are like the two main cities that anybody knows about. And like they're taking these scientists, which one of them is Cyborg's dad, obviously, and they put them all in this weird place that somehow Cyborg finds. But anyway, this is where I'm getting at. I went off on a tangent. They could have explained. They could either the main villain, what's his name again?
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf. He could have told the devil guys, go get the smartest guys in around, like the guys that have actually experimented on ideology, like history of Earth stuff, or like working for the government, and just kidnap them, bring them all in one place. He doesn't even say that. He just says it's time for Mother. Go out and seek for Mother. We have to find the other box. I'm like, okay. So what before we just like laugh at that for like 5 minutes. Well, let's take it back a little bit. So before he shows up at the Amazon's lookout, these dark demons that kept at the start of the movie you see Batman run into the first one.
Yeah.
They could have been kidnapping these special people right from the start when they first start showing up on Earth.
Yeah.
That would have been a planned attack. Like what I mean, like an alien invasion attacking a planet.
Yeah. Well.
But they don't have any intel though. Like I don't know how, like when they actually got to Earth, how they got intel that like these guys are the main scientists. We have to kidnap these guys. They didn't explain that.
Oh, well.
Like why not just kidnap the president? Is what I'm saying. The mayors of each city, the president. Like why the scientist?
Didn't Cyborg's dad have a mother box or something?
Right.
That's how he sort of made Cyborg. Right?
But they didn't explain. They didn't explain that. That's the reason. Like, how would the villains know that he was the guy that? Oh, because he was messing with the box to
Yeah.
create Cyborg.
Yeah.
So they knew about him.
Yeah.
But why do the other people? Why the other scientists?
Fuck do I know, man?
Well, this is discussion here, podcast.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So yeah. So if they knew, this goes back to the plot, the start of the movie. Yeah. So if they knew that this scientist, Cyborg's dad, had knowledge of this box, they should have went after him first when they were first analyzing their attack. Kidnap the guy that knows about one of the boxes, and then make your attack. But for whatever reason, they were just like, I don't know. Oh God.
I'm gonna look up the trailer
All right.
just so I remember parts of the movie.
So I guess we can, since we're talking about the villains, we can now mention. I think we mentioned in the other part that all the villains, scenes and animation, whatever, is CGI. It's not an actual human in a suit, or actor. I mean, sorry.
Let's go with characters.
Okay.
Alright. I gotta go here first because this is my favorite character.
All right.
They fucking ruined Batman.
Oh my god.
He turned into a punchline. He's like, what was that scene? He's like, oh, I do bleed, I do. Like when Superman asked him, do you bleed and shit.
I felt so bad for Batman. I love Batman, but like obviously like I'm Superman first. That's just me. But like for him, like to say the line "Do you bleed?" I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They're making Superman look like he has a grudge, and I don't really remember him ever having a grudge.
He lost his like
Manlyhood, lost his balls.
all the dark elements that make him Batman.
Right.
He's turned into like a light, have fun character, crack jokes. And it's like,
And then he's like fragile. Like why is he so fragile? Like last movie, he suits up to fight the Man of Steel. Why is he so fragile?
I think that's them getting rid of Ben Affleck.
Yeah. I wasn't. I thought he was gonna go somewhere as Batman. I gave him a leeway. The Batman versus Superman. I gave him some leeway. I thought he was okay, but watching him in this movie, he definitely needed to go, in my opinion.
And yeah, if they were gonna do it, they should have just killed him somehow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm gonna go off topic here, but The Force Awakens, Harrison Ford's like, I'm just gonna sign up for one more movie. You can't talk me back into being Han Solo for another movie. So what do? They kill him. In the books, he survives longer or whatever. Or like in the Return of the Jedi, he even wanted his character to be dead already. Like he got in Cyber 9, whatever, in Empire Strikes Back, and he just wanted to die. He didn't want to come back. But the fanfare demanded him to come back. So whatever. So that's what we're getting at here. So if this Bruce Wayne, this Batman, didn't want to come back, and they made him brittle, they made him gray-haired, they made him look like he could get injured very easily and want to quit, and he's like, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years, why not just kill him? Make it, But I think it was something to do with the directors switching from like, all right, we were that, now we're going to act like this. We can't just kill Batman right now.
Yeah, possibly.
But
Yeah.
I would have been okay with Batman dying, honestly.
I'm okay with if they have an old, grizzly Batman, but they didn't serve the character. They didn't do the character right. Like he changed personalities, like out of nowhere in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like
But okay,
cracking quippy
how about-
jokes and shit.
how about this? If they stated this is 5 years after Superman's dead, that means his human body would have been 5 years older and grizzly.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with that. Like, ow, my fucking shoulder's out of place. Oh, I got this shot on my leg. Oh, I can't move as fast as I used to. I've been doing this for 20 years. Like an old coach or something like that.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with that. But this is supposed to be right after Superman died. Right after. So I'll give him a year. I'll give him 6 months, 6 to 12 months after Superman's dead. Like, I'll give him that, but it's probably not even. It was probably like a month after he died, like, right away. And Batman, all of a sudden, has
Well,
his...
He should have just wore that suit that he wore.
Right! No, he was badass in that suit. I don't care if these demon guys were from a different world. He took on Superman.
Yeah.
Superman! And Superman single-handedly took out the whole Justice League in this movie. So, if Batman, one-on-one, can even... take a couple hits in this suit against Superman before he's weakened by kryptonite, he should be awesome in that suit against these demons.
Yeah.
So that didn't make any sense. Anything else about Batman? Wasn't he too comfortable around Wonder Woman? Very comfortable.
Comfortable? What do you mean?
Like with getting into her personal business when they were all like together on the ship.
Nah, he's fine.
He's fine with that.
I'm fine with that because I think he has like a trust for her. He's like, all right, I know you're a good person. You won't just kill me or whatever. So I don't mind that. It's that he's. I don't know. For me, Batman doesn't lose sight of like the mission itself. That's the Batman I understand.
Right.
And when he's like, in the middle of battle and he cracks a joke or something. It's like, fuck, man. Shit ain't done yet. Batman's humor is like a quiet, dark humor where he's not trying to be funny. It's just like, oh, that's fucking funny.
Right.
Like that.
I agree with that.
There's maybe like a couple scenes like that, but the main part was just, quippy, like indie, alternative comedy humor type shit.
Alright, so I'm going to go on that and say that why the fuck, when it was his idea to bring Superman back to life, why was he the last person at that statue? The Batman that I know would have been at that statue right away, be like, hey, I'm here.
I think he was getting Lois Lane.
But Alfred picked her up. Alfred came in the car.
Wrong.
Alfred shows up in the car with her.
I don't know.
Maybe he was.
I think he had something to do with that.
But that should have been already staged though before they went through the experiment.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
so why was he the last person there when Superman jumps out of the thing? Like, Batman's not scared of anything. I'm sorry. Like, in all the animated shows and movies that I've seen, even the crappy Batman and Robin movie, like, he wasn't afraid of nothing. So just because he pissed off the Man of Steel, like, for me to see him in cower and in fear and like, oh, that's my big brother, like, I have to be afraid of my big brother that's a alien from another world. Like,
yeah.
No!
Yeah.
Take your beating like a man and fucking be like, yo, I got this Justice League together and we need you. Like, it doesn't have to be that corny or like direct, but like, that's what should have been implied for a Batman. Like some kind of, I just hated that.
Yeah, they made him like, once again, I think it was like sort of like fan service where they're showing Batman like bowing down to Superman. Like, he's done everything for me. Like, I'd be out murdering people if it wasn't for Superman. He changed my mind about it. Like, the last movie, he's fucking murdering people and shit.
Yes.
And he's like,
yes,
oh,
he is.
He's the hope we need. Like, no, Batman should be established already.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, how does he just go from...
That
was his moral, not to kill anybody. And then he's just, I'm gonna kill you, kill you, kill you. He even had a car where he, like, fired a missile or something at another car to blow up, like, 5 people.
Yeah, he was shooting machine guns out of his car. And then he, like, pulled, like, attached a hook to another car and flipped it on top of another car. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Just causing as much damage as possible.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's not what he's about. That's actually what he's upset about for Superman. That's why he did. That's why he flipped the switch and wanted to kill Superman. Because Superman did that in his battle versus the people
Zod.
from his world. Zod.
Yeah.
That is why he was mad at Superman. And then he does the same exact thing.
And then when he somehow, for some reason, Superman dies and all of a sudden he's like, all right, I have to be good now. No more killing and shit like that.
Have to atone. Oh yeah, he was even bat branding people. He never did that. Never. So, oh man. So let me think. I think we covered Batman, right? I mean,
I don't even want to talk about him anymore.
Yeah. Honestly, I was sad with his suit in this movie. He didn't have enough bat boomerangs or different things out of his belt. Like in the, even in the first one in the 1990, where it was actually a good movie with Jack Nicholson. Who played that Batman? Michael Keaton. That Batman. He even had gadgets back then that looked like he was above who he was facing, what villains he was facing, and those graphics were awful, but he was prepared. So for this, with all the technology in the world, and all the suits he could have chose from, he was so not prepared to battle demons from another world, even though he was the only one that encountered these demons at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
So he should know how strong they are.
And his fucking premonition thing, where he saw the future or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So
for some reason.
So, like, for all the Batman toys, where he has all the fucking gadgets, and all the TV shows where he has... that was the thing. He has an uphold over everybody. if it's Aquaman and he's in the water, I guarantee you he has a gadget to fucking electrify him with thunder. That was the only way to get water, like kind of, the water, the element effect. If it was Superman, of course he's got his kryptonite. He's got different things, but the only thing that they made him show was when the Flash said, "What's your superpower?" He's like, "I got money. I'm rich."
Yeah.
So like he had this big ass cruiser that he drove around.
That was a Batman joke. That would work.
Yeah, but what I meant was by that they set him up for later in the movie. The only good thing about him in this movie was he had this big ass aircraft and he had this big spider thing. That's what they set up with him saying that was my superpower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in the regular Batman that we know, he knows fucking kung fu. Like he knows how to fucking like.
Yeah. He's a master
assassin. Like the assassin people. Remember like the Bane movie? They're chanting and he's climbing up the wall like interchaining.
League of Shadows.
Yes, he was like a League of Shadow member. Like that's the Batman we know. This Batman was not a League of Shadow member. He was somehow aged drastically. He was like a brittle man. So yeah, I don't even want to talk about him anymore. I'm sorry. I'm gonna touch on Superman. So why don't you pick somebody else?
I'll go with Aquaman.
All right.
It seemed like they were trying to fit him into like a mold, a social archetype of like a bro or something.
Yeah.
Like that, like some guy you see at the gym.
Yeah.
And he fucking going to get some pussy tonight. Yeah. Like one of those fucking guys. Like rebelling against his parents or some shit.
Yeah. Well, what the
like,
fuck? Like
I didn't really have
yeah.
that much of a problem with it.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know, I thought that was funny.
And then.
But I don't really know Aquaman enough to be like, that's not Aquaman. That's not him. 'Cause we haven't had one on screen.
Right.
So.
Not even in a TV show, except the animated, but like not an actual live footage one.
There's just no depth. That's my only problem with Aquaman. There's no depth there.
It was almost like a Baywatch with him too, though. Like it was just like, like his people, his crowd of people that he kept bringing fish to or whatever. It was just like he could do no wrong in front of them, and he was like in slow motion and like he was just like the shit. And it's like, okay, we don't know anything about you, but anybody that watches the trailer already knows who you are. So if you
but he's like, it seemed like none of the characters cared about hiding their identities and shit. Like, I think he calls them Batman in front of other people.
So you wear a suit? All right.
There's like other people standing around like, hey, Batman. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up, man.
Or like the Flash was like, oh, that's your signal! I'm like, Flash would not do that. Like, seriously?
They were like saying shit about their identities in front of like random people. I thought that was hilarious.
They did not give a shit.
Just to get a joke in there or something. It's like, fuck.
So I touched on this a little bit. Yep. So the depth is not good with Aquaman. There's obviously a movie coming out to explain him.
And that's why I forgive it, because, they made all these cuts to the movie. Why not, keep the things of the characters we already established somewhat, and sort of get rid of things for characters that are soon to come or haven't come out yet. So I sort of understand that.
Well, it would have to do with the new director, though. Like, well, I guess they couldn't.
Yeah,
they couldn't completely cut him out of the movie anymore.
They're trying to move the whole thing in a different direction. So
they were trying to speed everything up.
Yeah.
But see, Aquaman. Oh, I got one. So his power of his staff, he only uses it once, and it's to stop the water for an extra 30 seconds for the Justice League members to get on the Batman Spidey Crawly thing. I don't even know what it was. Just like, you know what I mean, like that ship that had the spider. I don't fucking know what it is. But if he is the master of sea, and he has the Triton, he should be able to withhold the ocean, and just like how Noah's Ark, or I mean not Noah's Ark, the story
Moses.
of Moses, yes, where he could just like make the sea go to the side with his Triton. So like for him to not be able to hold that wave for more than 30 seconds to a minute, like to let them,
We don't know. Maybe
maybe he still hasn't controlled it yet.
as far as the character goes, we don't have anything on him really. So
Okay.
maybe that's just a normal trident that all the Atlanteans get. There's some like supreme trident that the king gets or something like that.
I'm gonna go a little further because I'm more DC like that with that character, and like there was no other character in his undersea world that had the Triton, is to my knowledge. Only
But were they like in strict battle, like the?
well in the series, in the animated series, it was his kingdom. Like those people underwater were under him, and
Okay.
and obviously we know he can talk to fish, but they didn't show that on screen. They didn't show his sonar ability.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed that we didn't get to see that, but obviously we got the film coming up, so we can't harp on him too much. But for him, we need to see a backstory. We need to see his parents or whatever, and we need to see him use this Triton, the training of the Triton, the powers of the Triton explained.
Need to
And
see him
sonar.
become the king or the prince or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah, how does
Actually earn that shit.
right? How does he just go renegade and like not get punished by his father or whatever, and let him just go in and about the human realm and talk to these people and let them know that there's mermaids out there, or well, mermaid. What is he? He's Aquaman, so that they are a mermaid, right?
Merman.
Merman.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah. So like, there must be some kind of sacred duty where you can't let your identity be known, because at the start of the movie, they're all unison and fighting together, and it's almost like it's like biblical. You remember like when all the different color oh not the colors but like the different language barriers were all working together as servants or something under the one guy, and then they built the tower, and then all of a sudden everybody spoke the same language. So then when they built the tower all the way up to try to reach God, he made them all speak different language and then scatter.
Tower of Babel?
Yeah, Tower of Babel.
I don't even know how I knew that.
So, the Tower of Babel. So that's what it looked like. Like they everybody was in unison, working together with the gods like Zeus and Ares or whatever. They're fighting this villain off together, and then the Amazons went to hiding on their island, so the men would never find them, and somehow they do find them anyway. But and the freaking aqua people, the mermans go underwater. So why does this Aquaman able to go renegade and just be like, all right, I'm gonna go talk to humans now, like after all these years?
I think they made him just a rebellious outlaw guy. He's just chugging alcohol. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, whatever.
I think that's what they were going for.
All right, for
Cool
Superman,
badass outlaw.
let's switch over to Superman. I guess we can talk about Clark Kent also, right? Because we talk about Bruce Wayne with Batman. So with this Superman, we already talked about his good parts. They did really good job with his the battle scenes and his lines and stuff. But I didn't quite understand why they made him have a grudge against Batman. Like that was never in his character. Like if they made him come back to life with a completely different like he was just a completely different person, not just like right off the bat, I'm acting this way because I'm in shock that I'm alive again. But like if he was like that for the rest of his days because they made him come back to life, I would understand that grudge against Batman. But we're talking about Superman here. Like he never holds grudges unless it's a villain.
And they already made up anyways.
Yeah.
Batman saved his mom and shit.
That's what I didn't understand. Like, he saved his mom, Martha, and then they worked together to fight that, whatever, what was it called again? Doomsday? Yeah, Doomsday. So they were working side by side, so why is Batman, like, so afraid and Superman has this grudge? So, yeah, I didn't like that part about Batman.
I think they were going to make him come back evil. think that's the original version. Then they reshot
Oh, the
it.
director. Yeah.
Maybe reshot it in some way. Like they just cut out the part where he's evil. They
Yeah.
just skipped right to the part where he's like, all right, he's good again.
All right.
Like, all right, he comes back, he beats the shit out of them, then he goes to Lois and his mom. Or no, he beats the shit out of them, then they cut that part all the way out that leads up to where he meets Lois and his mom. And
Yeah.
comes back to being, like, normal again.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes and fights them off.
Yeah.
I think they cut out a giant chunk, like, right there.
Yeah, it had to be. Because if you're a Superman fan and you watched the animated film series or whatever, he is when Darkseid, actually the main guy, like that this guy's working for, comes to Earth with his army, or he might have been like when I think Superman encountered this guy out in space too, maybe before he came to Earth. That would have actually made a lot more sense for the storyline of the Justice League. But anyway, so Darkseid comes back, he faces Superman again, and Superman snaps. Like the scientist friend that he thought was on his side, which is not in these films, and like he thought Lois Lane was dead. So he actually turns evil right there when Darkseid comes back, and he's like almost reborn and like he's like against humans. He vows his allegiance to Darkseid, this guy that they're talking about out in the realm.
Because
So in
Lois is dead, right?
Right, I think that was the main trigger, and he thought everybody in his circle was trying to give him up, like even the army of the United States or whatever were trying to give him up, whatever. So you know, when they brought him back in this, and their initial thing was trying to make him evil, like that kind of triggered my head. I was like, what the hell is going on here? But whatever. So that's the only time I've really seen like Superman, you know, seek vengeance is against villains that he's already fought against.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that part. So going to Clark Kent, when he's Clark Kent, he was way too relaxed. He was way too like, oh, this is my farm again. Oh, I'm alive again. I can't go in that house because I was in a box, a barn box, or like you remember that corny joke? He's like, I've been inside a coffin all this time, or
Yeah.
he's like, I can't even go inside that house right now. I've been in a box all this time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and another Batman negative that they were gonna let his mom like get foreclosed on and shit.
Yeah.
And at the end, he's like, I bought the bank. Like, you could have fucking helped her out a while ago, man.
Yeah, if he was so worried.
Like, it's not like he never met her. He saved her life already, so he's just gonna let her like go homeless and shit.
He's so upset about Superman being dead that he let his mom foreclose the house that he lived in when he was young.
Yeah.
If that would have been a good plot, actually, like maybe Superman was pissed, like, you motherfucker, you let my mom foreclose her house. So that was bullshit, but fuck.
Yeah, I didn't think.
Superman didn't really have many. Or, I mean, Clark Kent really didn't have any flaws. I mean, and the do you remember the last couple Clark Kent, how he was in the last couple of Superman movies, and compared to this one?
Well, I think they were going for the dark Superman before. I think they were eventually going to bring a light Superman regardless.
Right.
I think that was going to happen. It's just.
But did you not like that he was very light Superman in this movie?
No, I don't mind that.
I thought he was alright too. But the Clark Kent was real different in this movie. He looked a little. Well,
he seemed like he turned into Superman. Like, I think he was so relaxed because he just go there and beat the fuck out of this guy, like no problem, which is what he did.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of him like it was nothing.
It felt like in other movies he had conflict. Like there was some kind of conflict constricting him, or like afraid of what people thought of him. And then in this movie he's like, I'm just gonna let out my powers. I don't give a fuck.
Well, he comes back with powers he didn't have in the other movies. Like the ice breath, that wasn't there before.
Yeah, finally, yes. Oh, we should have put this in the good part of that other movie. Finally, we saw ice breath.
That's almost a negative because they didn't explain how he did that or how he knows how to do that.
Like his air.
What I think happened is they cut that part out where he was the bad Superman.
Yeah.
I think they had him originally coming back as a bad Superman, and he just let all his powers go and just beat the fuck out of everything. Lois inspired him to go back to the good side, and then he has all those new powers that he realized he didn't have before.
Yeah, he's like, oh, how'd I do this? What the
It's
fuck?
like, yeah, I didn't know I could do this before, but when I turned evil, I just lit all my power out.
Yeah.
Now I have it.
It's like when you go unconscious and like somebody's taking over you. Like you're like just a soulless robot, and you're able to activate all of its abilities. Like that would have made sense.
But at the same time, I wouldn't see how you can bring him back evil. I don't know how you do
No.
that without killing Lois Lane,
Right.
which would be the thing that would bring him back to good in the first place.
Yeah, so they definitely should have explained in one of the other two movies that he has the ability to just cools down the freaking air into frost breath. I mean, like anybody that watches Superman since whenever knows that, but
I think they rushed to get to the happy, sunshiny Superman, the
that was like the highlight.
beacon of hope guy. Yeah.
That's like when they near the end of the movie where like they made it all Marvel. It was like Guardians of the Galaxy, like the intro, like the ending was like the intro of that movie where it's all like happy and flowers everywhere and like let's make fun of Aquaman's or Batman or like let's make the Flash not look as great as he could be because Superman is just as fast as the Flash. And like it was just like I could hear music in my head, like corny music, but there was no music. But
I think you're gonna hear a lot of Superman fans overlooking some of the negative stuff and really just loving the movie regardless, like overlooking everything that could be bad about it,
right,
just because they got the Superman.
yeah, we finally got
They
the
wanted.
Superman that we wanted. But you know, this is a podcast, and we are gonna describe everything that we can about these guys. So the Flash, obviously, there's a TV show, The Flash, with Flash Gordon that a lot of fans already know, and then there's the animated Justice League, where he has humor, but he's not over the top. And in this movie, he was way over the top, and he was trying way too hard to make people laugh or be accepted or want friends, which I never thought he needed before as Flash Gordon. So now, and then, like, I never heard of him, well, we didn't have a backstory for him, but, like, they made it seem like he's never gotten in a fight before, like, and then
They threw some stuff in there. I guess.
like Batman was like, just grab a person and go, just save one person, then you'll know. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that was, I think, rushed writing.
And then like he's visiting his dad in the jail, and like, I don't know if you heard this, but my mom heard this and I heard this. Like the last thing his dad says to him is like, "Oh, don't be gay." Like he says, get a job and don't come back here again. He's like, "And don't be gay." Like and then like he hung up, or like he's like, I'm like, wait, what? Don't be gay. I was like, that what? I'm like, all right.
I don't think he says that. I think he says like,
I'm serious. Look it up.
do
Look
me
at,
good or something like that.
Do me good.
Do good by me or something. Some shit like that.
My mom thinks he said be gay. I think he said don't be gay. But if you think it's that, we'll have to bootleg it and watch it
There's
again.
no way. They wouldn't do that.
It sounded like
I
that.
think the actor's gay in real life. But I don't think they would put that in a fucking movie.
So yeah.
Too many,
Too much humor.
many puns and
Too many
jokes with
puns. Like yeah, he's just trying to be accepted for some reason. Like, and
I like him as a comedic character. It's too much is too much. It's like
yeah, initial
the
at the end.
some of the jokes
middle.
don't have weight if they're
Right.
done so many times. Like it needs to be like normal, then punchline, then it's like, oh, that's funny.
You know what it was? It's like
So the audience is just sitting there like waiting for the joke to come because they know he's gonna say a joke because he's been doing it the entire fucking movie
Yeah.
so far.
oh, here's a solo scene right here. He's trying to save these fucking people, even though he doesn't know which way is west.
Yeah.
And like, oh, the horrible CGI animation's catching up to him. Uh oh,
It's
watch
like
out.
as soon as the camera cuts the Flash, everyone knows a joke's about to come. Like there's like a serious talk, then there's quiet, then the camera goes to Flash, and you know he's gonna say some joke
Yeah.
or something that sounds like a joke even. Like the way he talks sounds like a joke.
Yeah.
It's like, are you guys like that type of fucking talk?
I'm afraid of bugs.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I thought it was great when Superman was like flying next to him. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go save these people east, and then like, no, that's the end of the film. Sorry. So yeah, Superman's like,
I'm gonna go right, you go left or something.
yeah,
And
but like,
Flash saves like a car with family in it. And Superman's carrying an entire building.
he's like, yeah, I did good, and he looks up and he's like, oh, yeah, I can't do that.
I think they're gonna make them faster at some point.
I loved at the ending credits when the Flash is like, I'm gonna go to the West Coast or something, and then he's like, and then Superman's like, it's that way.
Yeah.
He's like, have you gone to the West Coast before?
It's like, yeah,
Well, they're-
everything was a joke with him. Like his dialogue,
Yeah.
even like when it was like something serious going on, he's like, "Oh, if she kills you, you know we'll back her, right? Like we'll be on her side, you know." Like when Wonder Woman and Batman
Yeah,
started
he
arguing.
didn't have to say that. That was
Even that was a joke.
yeah. That
If
was
she kills you, we'll take her side. You
And then even Aquaman goes in and says like, well, you're being an asshole. No, wait, no, that was Cyborg. Sorry, Cyborg's like, well, you're being an asshole. So like, there was too many puns going on. Instead of letting Batman have his element of being Batman, they wanted to pick on Batman.
Like I said before you saw it, I was like, yeah, they should have had Batman like isolate for a while, and then he comes back because the world's in trouble.
Yeah.
I guess to fix him, like he has to realize that he killed a shitload of people in the past movie.
Yeah, he's
He
like,
almost
that's not what I
killed-
do.
He almost killed the fucking like Christ figure in Superman. It's like Jesus.
And he got used by Lex Luthor. So
Sort of,
he probably,
yeah.
so he could have like been vowed never to been used again. Like, you know, that would have been interesting. But off topic. All right, so Flash. Anything else for Flash? Did you want
That's
to?
my only problem. That and the fucking running. My God, some of the running looks so like fake and bad.
Well, it
I was like,
part
even-
part of the time was okay because it was overshadowed by the lightning going up and down. But there were some times where he was like running, but his arms were going and his legs were like, you know, like struggling behind. I was like, that's not how you run. Like,
I think they should have. All right, if everyone else is in slow motion, that means you can move like a normal pace.
yeah,
Like he's running so fast that everyone else looks like they're in slow motion, but he can look like he's actually going at a decent running pace rather
Right.
than him being like, all right.
yeah. I was like, okay. Like they didn't have to make him extremely fast, like you said, but he didn't have to go as slow as they were going.
It's just the way he's running didn't look believable as someone moving at a good pace. It just
No, absolutely not. It was like he almost had like a jetpack on his
Like he should
feet
be
or
a-
something.
yeah, he should be like a supreme runner. Like that's his fucking thing is
Like his
running
form.
fast.
We'll have to like look at footage of his form is actually of a runner. Like, you know how like the Olympic runners or and shit or sprinters.
Yeah.
Like if this is actually the body movement, but definitely there were scenes, especially at the end when they got lazy, when everybody's all happy and shit. Like they definitely were just like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, all right.
Yeah.
So-
I heard a reviewer say something that I forgot after I watched it was that he has two different running forms. One looks like normal, sort of,
Okay.
just slow, and one just looks completely like wacky and shit. Like his legs are
Ah.
flailing and everything.
Is that based off the Flash TV show, the live one?
It could have been in the movie. It could have been a reshoot,
Okay.
and then he ended up running different
Hmm.
so badly that you can see the difference.
All right. I don't really have much on his character outside of his superhero outfit. what's his name, Barry. I
Yeah.
really don't have much on Barry. I haven't watched the live TV show. All I know of him is of the animated series, the comics and the animated series. So forgive me, I don't really have much to compare that to, but thankfully the movie didn't give us much to compare that with, because I don't think they did a good job. Like we said, like when Batman found out who he was and he was in his own place, like he was just, it was almost like a Power Rangers, like, oh, okay, I'm the chosen one. Oh, I have to follow this guy's org, and I have to go to the ship, and like instead of
You knew who Batman was. You knew who he was.
no, he looked so shocked when he threw the boomerang.
He's like, "You're the Batman."
Well, when he threw the boomerang, he didn't know
Oh,
when he was
before
in
that?
there.
Before that, you
He
mean?
was denying everything, even though like Bruce
But,
Wayne was saying everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, like I said, I don't have enough on Barry, and they didn't give enough footage. But I did read online that there was supposed to be a girl that he has like a relationship with or something. And I don't know if that's part of the series or like the comics. I think it's part of the comics. Like it was just the chick that he has a relationship with, and they cut her from the film. Originally, they were going to put her in the film, but they cut her. So that's all I got for Flash.
Well, the movies never really hold on to comic books directly.
Right.
They'll take like pieces here and there and try to make their own story out of it. But
All right, so let's move on to more interesting characters. Cyborg. You go for it. Go first.
I didn't really have any negatives for him, to be honest. I mean, I did hear things about CGI where his like legs were skinny in one scene and then fat in another.
Very, very skinny.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. I think they struggled with, like, I think that where they could have went right with this was that they could have went like him in a suit, like how Batman's in a suit. And if you're gonna make his blast and his arm be CGI, just make his upper half be CGI, and just let his lower half be an actual suit, so it's the same size of legs. But there is one scene where his leg gets ripped off, and they have to. I think that's what fucked up everything. They wanted one scene where one of his body parts gets fucked up.
I like the idea of him sort of like being ashamed of being part robot.
That was
where
great.
He would be hiding, even from the other heroes. He's hiding majority of the time.
Right.
And then in the final act, have him come out and be like, "I'm a fucking killing machine, whatever."
We should have definitely said this.
But
part of
basically
this.
hide him most of the movie. Like he wants to be hidden. He's like,
Right.
I'm not proud of looking like this. So, you know, he has like a hoodie on and shit. He's like,
Yeah. He was really. I really liked his character. I'm sorry we didn't go over this more in detail over what we liked about the movie. I don't know. Now that we're talking about it, the negatives somehow.
Good.
Hmm?
Good. If you got another positive, you forgot.
Oh. No. I think what I'm getting at is we're touching up on it now. It's too bad we didn't say this when we first talked about the good part of the movie. But I agree. If we're gonna go bad thing about Cyborg, like I said before, like he, instead of being unique, he was just like anything that Batman has created because of money and Alfred and shit. Like I can do double the advancements just because I'm Cyborg. He's like, I can make this go twice as fast. I can make this operate even though it's like half broken. I can repair it. I can go get the new engine. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Cyborg from the Teen Titans show that he can, like, look up internet stuff. Like, he can look up everything on the internet and, like, absorb it. And he was making some scene with his dad. He was saying he was, like, speaking different languages and understanding different alien languages from different planets. I didn't really understand. Like, maybe I don't know Cyborg well enough.
I don't think so.
So I don't really have much to compare there or complain about, because it makes sense because he was based off that supernatural box that wasn't from there, that he was made from that material. That's why he was able to do that. But from the TV show, honestly, all I remember him doing was his signature move was the freaking arm blast, which they did a few times. That was cool, and him saying "booyah," you know. I don't really remember too much of him having this knowledge. I mean, like, I remember him having, like, a target, like, in his one eye, the robot eye. Like, he could have, like, a target or a map of, like, something or, like, a radar. Like, oh, they're over there.
Yeah.
But they didn't explain he can enter, like, all the internet in the world and just, like, you know. So.
Yeah, well, they have to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
maybe it wouldn't even fit in unless they enhance his power or whatever the fuck.
But, yeah, so.
I don't mind the characters.
No, I thought he was solid. I think we can't really pick on him too much.
Yeah,
Him, Wonder Woman, and Superman. They were pretty solid. I think it was just Aquaman, Flash, and Batman. Obviously, were the negatives. If anything,
I would say only Flash because of too much jokes.
but Aquaman we
and-
can't attack because we don't have enough info
Yeah,
on him.
Aquaman I'll leave alone. And Batman was just a travesty.
Yeah, so just Flash and Batman is basically the negatives for the characters. Yeah, but that's obviously on the directors. You know, like I don't know how the new director would have made the full film, but just based off the director from Batman and Superman.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if they made the director of Wonder Woman come in and help with some of the Wonder Woman scenes in this movie, because her battles or her story, you know, would have been interesting when the Amazons popped up and they had some kind of history. They had some kind of history with this villain in the Justice League show. And the cartoon and the Superman cartoon, like, I don't remember them being any kind of ties to the Amazons. So if that director from Wonder Woman that just came out, if that writer director came over and helped out with those scenes, I think maybe this jumbo mix would have, like, made more sense.
I don't think they could have because it was too little
time.
Not enough time.
Yeah.
Because the way they redid the movie, basically, with just little scenes and cutting away certain things and adding certain things changes the story completely.
That's why I'm kind of worried about this, off topic, but I'm kind of worried about Star Wars, because I've heard they did that too in this latest movie. Like, they cut some scenes, and even Mark Hamill said himself, like, I wouldn't have gone this way with Luke Skywalker or whatever, you know, like, so I'm curious to see what scenes, like, you know, if it's going to be very...
Well, they have a straight up a new director.
Right, so maybe they got rid of the old scenes before, like, maybe they had enough time.
I don't think they made a switch midway.
Okay.
I think it was just straight up a new director for this movie,
Right.
as opposed to the first one.
Okay.
So it won't be. I don't think it'll be like a jumbled mess. It'll be
Yeah, it looks a little
One-
more structured during the
yeah.
preview.
one coherent story going on. It looks pretty good to me.
Yeah,
From what I've seen from the trailers. I'm like,
that's the only thing I can say about that the Star Wars movie coming out. It's just because of this, having a director and then getting a new director, and I heard Star Wars, the last director and this director are different, so whatever. So that's it on the negatives of the characters.
Oh yeah, Steppenwolf, the villain.
Did we talk about him?
I think we just talked about it. But yeah.
Didn't we talk about how we didn't know him?
Yeah,
Like,
all of him was a negative.
like why, like what's his purpose? I think you said at the start, like, why are you doing this? Why are you the villain? What motivates you to do this? Why over 1,000 years or whatever are you still doing this?
Yeah.
There is a scene where it's like he prepares these planets, and you see these different planets, you know, turning red and like getting taken over by these people.
Yeah.
But why? Is it galactic conquest? Is it just, you know, like, why are you?
They don't
evil?
even have to go into that till further to like later movies on, but the character itself, since that character's in the movie, you should be explaining him. What's he about?
Yeah, that's what makes an average movie a good movie. When you have each character have depth.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a side story. If you have enough depth inside this movie, but I think that's where this jumbo mess comes, because you have too many characters in one movie. If you had like 3 characters that already had side stories, and then you just added a villain and one other hero, then you could have had 20, 30 minutes side story of villain. Well, maybe not so much the villain, but the hero, and then like 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
I'd say with the villain. I would
With the
say
villain.
if they made, let's say they made Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and maybe Flash movies, solo movies before this, and then you did your Justice League. Now you don't have to take time to explain those 4 characters.
And Justice League, the Flash, his things would have been funny because it would have been related. You could have made jokes related to Batman. He could have made jokes related to the Amazons. You could have made jokes related to Superman because they already had their solo movies. That would have made
Maybe.
sense.
Maybe.
But I think his humor, his
Yeah.
jokes would have died down a little bit. I think. So. No. Ruining our podcast. Let's see. Oh yeah, so we got that character. Can't talk about Lex Luthor. We could talk about Alfred. Here we go. We could talk about Alfred.
I didn't.
Doesn't count.
I don't think he plays enough of a role other than just helping Bruce Wayne out and doing tech shit. And
Yeah, but
This
like
and
I feel
that.
like that's not what
I'm helping
Alfred's
the plot
about
go
though.
along.
That's not what Alfred's about though. I mean like if you really want to develop him like he did in the Dark Knight series, he was like a father figure. Or even in the early '90s Batman movies, he was a father figure.
Yeah, but as soon as I say Batman, that's him and all of his characters.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of them have been done right.
Yeah.
I mean, what do we have so far? Batman, Joker's horrible. The whole like Suicide Squad thing.
Yeah,
It's basically like a Batman type thing.
I was not a fan of that either.
I don't like Alfred.
Gordon's okay, but I would have been happy if they invited that other Gordon back.
And I don't like Gordon either. I don't like the cartoonishness of the character. Like the way the Dark Knight was done is like these are like realistic, characters. They have real motives and their expressions seem realistic.
Yeah.
As opposed to I'm a character in this movie. Like
I'm here because you know I'm here. Or I am.
I'm using a voice to talk. It sounds more comic book like. As opposed to, Gordon in The Dark Knight. He's just like using his normal fucking voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
he's British, so he's putting on a voice. But I think he's British.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman, but
Yeah, Gary
he's using
Oldman.
a normal
Yep.
talking voice and shit like that.
But isn't he a famous actor, Gary Oldman?
Gary Oldman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he play in that DiCaprio movie? As the villain?
Which one?
The latest one we got, Mobbed by Bear?
No. That's Tom Hardy.
Oh, Hardy. Ah, duh, my bad. So yeah, even my mom was like, wait, that's not Alfred, because it's already been emphasized that the Dark Knight trilogy, people accepted that's the Batman they want, and that's the Alfred they want. So, these other characters, we can't, like, detect, well, Superman, the Christopher Reeve ones from the 80s, that's what people remember as my Superman. But for a while, we have all these dark, serious Supermans. We finally got the light Superman that people are happy with, and he shows all his powers now. So now we understand the Superman we want, graphics wise, and they have their Superman and Clark Kent from whatever the 80s. So that's there. People liked the Wonder Woman. They liked, what was her name, Linda Carter, right? They have that Wonder Woman, and
we haven't really got a legit Wonder Woman in like film or movie or whatever.
okay,
It hasn't happened.
but so far they like what's been out there so far. So
This is basically
yeah. So we have Batman
a
and
clean
Superman.
slate. They have a clean slate to make her.
Yeah.
And I think they already established her.
Yeah.
She's already solid.
So yep, they got work to do with the other ones. So, but they got it. I guess what I'm getting at is they got to be consistent. Like give us a consistent character. Just don't put that character in the movie. Like Lois Lane, they brought that Lois Lane back for like a third or fourth movie, whatever. Like that's fine. You brought that character back, but you didn't bring back Michael Caine for Alfred. I don't think you could have paid enough for He didn't want to. But like
What are you talking about? Amy Adams is always in the Superman movies as Lois Lane.
No, that's what I said. I said they didn't bring back an Alfred. They didn't bring back
This is their
Gordon.
After Dark Knight's over, the rest is all of this universe that they have now.
Oh, okay. So
So-
according to this universe so far, all we got is Lois Lane. All right. As a side character. Okay.
We got Gordon now.
But
and
I don't think
Alfred's
people
been-
really accept this Gordon or this Alfred though. But
I think
whatever.
a lot of people accept this Alfred. They
Really?
like it.
You think so?
It's like a sleek,
Huh.
indie, I live in the village in New York City type person. I dress like a certain way.
Yeah.
I talk a certain way.
I didn't hate him. He was all right.
I wear like sleek glasses and shit. And I know shit about technology.
Yeah. So I guess what do we have left? The storyline, how it ended, or do you want to get on the CGI? Horrible CGI.
Let's go to CGI.
Alright. So, what the fuck was happening when these three boxes were together and this purple shit was coming out? Did you notice that? I thought I was watching a horrible footage of War of the Worlds from like the early 1900s. That's what I thought I was watching.
I think everyone's complained about the CGI. It was like, especially the villain, Steppenwolf.
Oh god, yeah.
I've heard this several times that he looks like a cutscene in a video game from like PlayStation 3 or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Like God of War, maybe.
like a cutscene of a bad guy or whatever the fuck, or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see him. Like, I didn't like that his whole power, though, was from, like, that staff. They didn't really explain what that staff was about. Like, he was, the sword or whatever he was using.
Alright, his axe,
Yeah, and then once they destroyed that, like, alright, he's done. He lost.
and it was just, if you look at it, it's just cold that did it. Like he
It's the
used,
cold wind.
he used ice breath. It's like, alright, so if they just froze his axe, it would be destroyed. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. They made Superman beat him real easily.
Yeah.
While Wonder Woman and Aquaman were
I think
barely
that
holding
was,
their own.
I think that was a Josh Whedon thing saying, alright, movie over. That's it.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. You have to be like a fan of his work to see how he does things, or it's like they build up drama, and then he's just like, alright, that's it. Movie over.
Yeah. Yeah, once Superman became in the picture, that's when it became very comedic, and I mean, like
super
the last
lighthearted.
battle. Yeah, it was just like, all right, nobody's gonna die.
Yeah.
Because like up to that point, before he showed up, before Superman was gonna help out, like you knew Superman was gonna come, but like you're like, all right, maybe Batman can die, maybe some character shit was gonna happen with Cyborg, like maybe the box is gonna control him and he's gonna like be a little evil or something and then turn to the dark side, but nope. It was just, yeah, I'm the villain. I'm protecting this box until it's ready.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, he was just a weak bad guy. But I think they did that just to get some other things out of the way so they can move on with their universe. They're like, alright, let's establish Superman as a top guy. Let's belittle Batman a little bit so we know that Superman's the top guy. Let's keep Wonder Woman where she's at.
Yeah, I
Let's
didn't
throw
like...
some other characters in there. Flash is going to be funny now. And let's end the movie.
Yeah. I didn't like how Batman was, like, not unscathed. Like, you know, like, in any film, even the last Superman-Batman movie, when they were fighting Doomsday, he still looked like he was confident in his approach in attacking. Like, he's like, I know I'm human. I know this thing is not human, but I'm still going to try to use bat wings or explosions or machine guns and try to beat this thing. But in this movie, it's like suicide. He's like, all right, everything follow me with the alarm.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to sacrifice myself. And then I was like, his combat was not good, so whatever. So that's that. So, what do you think they're going to do in the next movie? Justice League movie. If they do one.
We'll get to that some other time.
Alright.
I'm almost tired of talking about this movie.
Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I'm, like, not enjoying it.
And I honestly haven't. I can't even think of the last great movie that I've seen. That's like, most recent time something came out there where I'm like, this is a great movie.
Let's
all
talk
around.
about it for hours. But no, this one's like, when can we stop talking about it? Because like we're talking about a lot of negatives, or we're positive people here, but we're talking about a lot of negatives, and we can't even get deep into it. That's like not so fun to talk about. So.
And Mothers tried to go there. It was a good movie, but
yeah, I would say so. It like
it's a very good movie actually. But whatever. Let's give a score for this movie.
All right.
We'll go 0 to 10.
I'll give it.
Hold on.
Oh,
We gotta establish what these things are.
All right.
So since it's your grade, what is a like 0 movie to you? Or let's say a 1. What's a 1 movie to you? Just establish a 1 and a 10.
Well, I guess it would be easy if I did Batman movies, but you think that'd be all right?
I'll just say, what's your top movie? What do you consider a perfect movie? And what do you consider a shitty movie? That'll give you a scale of, all right, this is 1 and this is the top. This movie fits in.
All right. I would say like something like The Matrix would be my top.
Would be a 10.
Yeah, like the first Matrix movie would be like a 10. The Dark Knight or the first Batman Begins would be a 10.
Just need 1 movie.
And then the ones would be definitely like Batman and Robin from the early 90s, but like an earlier, one of the latest movies. Let's see, a 1. I think of a horrible movie I've just watched. I try to avoid bad movies.
Yeah.
I can't think of one. Yeah, I don't know. Can't think of a. Maybe. Oh, here we go. I'll give a 1 for like fucking Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds.
All right.
I'll give that like a 1, and I'll give something like, let's say, The Matrix a 10.
Okay.
So we're not just all Batman. All right, so I'm gonna give this. I would say between 6.5 and 7. So I'll give it a solid 6.8.
Alright. I guess my lowest movie would be all of the Transformer movies.
Explosions, hot chick. All right, good.
And 10, I haven't seen a 10 yet. So I'll say a 10 is like perfection. And the closest thing to that is Dark Knight. I'd give that like a 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
But 10 is a movie I haven't seen yet. I'm waiting for it to exist.
Black Swan.
Yeah, it's up there too. Not a 10. Alright. This movie, I'd give it a 5.2. 5.2 out of 10. The story falls down so badly that even like the symbolism I do see in the movie sort of gets knocked down because the story's so bad and out of place.
Fair enough. You did state before even wanting to watch this movie that you thought your own idea of like what they could have done symbolism between each of these characters. So I think
I already assumed they weren't going there.
Well, I know. I think that's what like some of this rating is about. I think you have a great idea what a good movie's about. I think my rating is more towards enjoyment, but having a good enough storyline to like where you can excite fans with like characters you know.
Yeah.
But
and enjoyment goes into my grading system. It's just
okay.
It's almost like I want to give this movie 2 grades. I'd give it like a 5.2 as just a movie.
Yeah.
But I'd give it like a like a 6.2 in the sense of, alright, I can see where they're trying to go and all the shit they had to deal with, the directors changing, all the cuts they had to make.
Yeah.
So I understand that happened. So I'd give them a 6.2. overall for the sense of okay, you're trying to go somewhere with this.
Yeah, I guess my grading is more in the higher sixes because I was definitely giving the directors a break. I think the new directors had a good thing going. He had success with the Marvel movies, and I liked that new change he did in the movie. So if I had the grade first half of the movie and second half of the movie, you know, I took that into account because the first half was all dark and the second half was more, all right, this is why we're gonna go in this direction. These guys were lighter now, lighter characters, and we're gonna express some of these guys' powers. Like, I was a huge fan of Superman. Obviously, in this movie, Wonder Woman was perfect. Yeah. So, but I could have definitely went lower. The story definitely wasn't that great. For the amount of complaints that we did, I still gave it a little bit of above passing, like a D plus. But I guess that's just because I love superhero movies. But
I would say your grade would be like a C plus. Mine would be like a C minus. It's hard to drop the grade so low because if this was like they put all their effort into it and this was their final product,
I think we could be very more direct.
No, I mean, if this movie, as it is, was like their big main project that they put all this effort into, and said this is the best we can do, I'd give this movie like a 2.
Yeah, it would be really bad. I'd probably go with like 3.5 if this is their final project, but because like those 90s movies, like that was the best animation they could do back then, the special effects. So like even though like they're that low on the scale, like that's how low we could bring this as far as storyline goes, and the CGI on the villains were horrible. But the CGI, it was interesting. The CGI on the heroes weren't bad. So, I mean, oh my God, yes, I just remembered. So a 1, I take it. Well, I definitely think Green Lantern was close to 1, but I 1 in my book is the new Fantastic Four with all those teens. They just brought all these teen actors. They didn't explain anything. That movie was a huge mess. That's off topic, but like I think that movie was worse than Green Lantern. To be honest.
No way they were teen actors, man.
They look like
they're all mid-20s and later. But
that was just bad. But that early, like that was the most recent horrible movie outside of no, I think I got another one. Independence Day, the newest Independence Day. I hated that movie so much. Like the acting, like you know how Will Smith in the 90s was like, like right before like they were gonna make an explosion or barely escape the alien ship. Like that was believable. They took some actors that nobody really knows and they try to do the same thing, like and I'm just like, no, like it doesn't do the same thing. So.
It could be scripts sometimes. Sometimes scripts won't attract like the greatest actors or whatever.
Yeah. So so there you go. That's our grading for this. I don't know what movie we're gonna do next, but or maybe it'll be a TV show next, or maybe Star Wars. I know that's like what 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away. So we'll see. Well, thanks for listening.
That's like the least charismatic conclusion.
Bye, guys.